Allstars. I have always dreamed of representing my country in an international competition, and I can finally accomplish that.
I felt very proud, and I was the only one who won the invitation against someone from Pain, so yeah, I felt really good.
Da equipe da PEN, olha o Túlio, tentando ir pra cima, vem chegando com tudo, zero absoluto, o Kami fica com uma, com duas, já garantiu o double, vai partir pra eliminação, triple, quadra kill, vem pro penta, penta kill do Kami!
Eu fiquei bem feliz de ter essa nova oportunidade de jogar lá fora. Desde o ano passado eu não tive nenhuma oportunidade, nosso time foi bem mal, então a gente não teve nenhuma oportunidade esse ano e a galera deu o maior apoio, teve uma brincadeira ali também no meio, foi bem engraçado, mas eu tô bem sério para jogar lá, apesar de muita gente ter votado às vezes até um pouco na zoeira.
Playing with Lab for the first time is going to be interesting. He has always been a good top laner. He has always been like a renowned top laner in Brazil. So it's going to be interesting to finally be able to play with his playstyle.
Acho que individualmente a gente não vai ter problema algum. Acho que lá a gente vai ter que conversar e talvez deixar algumas diferenças de lado, mas acredito que todo mundo vai ser bem profissional e acho que todo mundo quer ganhar, ir pro grande All-Stars nos Estados Unidos, então...
Enquanto isso o Kami tenta se reposicionar, o Crow é o primeiro a morrer, The Fox em sequência, double kill do BRTT, pode partir para o triple, vamos ver se isso que acontece, triple kill.
I think the strongest team is probably Brazil, but I would worry about Turkey because they won against us in the last WCA, so I think they are the ones we should look for.
I don't know quite how well it will go, but I think it's going to be interesting.
Welcome back, everybody. As we heard from the Brazilian team over there, it was very interesting, saying how they put their differences aside, or they were in the process of putting their differences aside. A lot of history there.
I actually like that, and I respect that a lot, because, you know, if you follow the teams and the players, you know that they're all from different squads. There's very big rivalries, even within the same team that's on the All-Star, but they all want to go to LA. They want to prove their worth against the 5 major regions, but you got to win here first to do it.
Yeah, and they started off great in their first game where they were up against LATAM, as said by Revolta after. Well, our decision-making could have been a bit better. We could have closed it out, but he did a fantastic job specifically in that game 1.
Yeah, that guy is an absolute monster early game. He just completely takes over the whole map, and how he actually effectively jungles and picks up camps on the way to good gank paths just means that his first 15 minutes was unbelievable.
I hope in the upcoming game that Elise doesn't go through as easy as it did, because Elise to me is still best jungler in the game.
Well, trust me, man, his Lee Sin is just as good. He's able to really utilize the high mobility junglers and junglers that can turret dive quite well and just be able to get in people's face and makes them uncomfortable.
And definitely, if Brazil gets off to a similar start, I think they will have learned a lot from that first game to get to the victory quicker. And they are going up against the team from the Japanese LJL in this one. And we're going to run through their lineup as well with Eevee, Rainbrain, Seros, Mueki, and Dara. Just to note that Mueki is stepping in that lineup and is maybe even a better replacement for the AD carry.
I'm kind of happy that that happened. I'm really happy that it happened, because we tried to do research on Meron and he hasn't played a single game of solo queue in ages. He's basically gone on vacation and tried to pull him back in.
That's what it is.
But Muaki, I know you love that guy.
Yeah, he certainly has a very impressive history behind him. He got the first pentakill ever of the LJL. His Jinx is fantastic. Target selection in particular is what you should watch for this guy. He's not afraid to shred tanks when he can or bypass the tank line if he thinks he can survive and get towards, I guess, high damage threats.
And it's actually something that this team has a little bit of competitive experience, something good that they have going for them. As a going away show, they actually played against some of the other teams from the LJL on 522, so there is some VODs to watch, which means there's a little bit of research. They showed that they play around the Rift Herald relatively well. They do prioritize that quite a lot in the early game, and they donated to Seros to try push those lanes down. So I want to see if he's going to get his hands on his Zillion, which we all know he loves. He's played in the past and is banned against him so often, but it's changed. It's not really a solo lane. So that's what I want to look at. The Rift Herald with him and what Seros is going to play.
It's like looking at the rest of the roster, I'm thinking Rainbrain as well. He's a player that has retired and has become like a pro streamer. And with that in mind, he's coming back to the competitive scene. And like, to quote Rusty, he said that the Japanese team is kind of like a fun team. and I'm expecting a lot of fun. That's what I'm hoping
Wow,
for.
that
kind
was a
of.
big quote.
I think that, like, you're exactly right. Like, when we were looking through his recently played, it's like his main champion, LeBlanc, question mark, because he plays a lot of mid lane at the moment. But hopefully they are able to put together something that I do want to point out is that Seros is a player that is all into zone control. And that's why he really favored the Zilean, but he also plays a very good Gangplank. And it was a champion that he got a pentakill in the first time he ever played it at the IWC tournament. Unfortunately, they went on to lose that game, but has shown that time and time again, he can put out these huge damage numbers. So maybe a team that they can run some supports around him and really get their mid laner going.
It's going to be difficult against the Brazilian squad, though. So the theory here, in terms of individual ability, I think is sound. But going up against the likes of Kami, BRTT had a great laning phase with Loop in that bottom lane on his misfortune earlier today. So I want to see how LJL are going to perform against, you know, as the youngest IWC region against what is the oldest and most successful IWC region to date.
Yeah, and that's what I'm really looking for as well, because IWCI, the Japanese came, and they weren't used to the ping. They were having some issues there, and they honestly didn't have a great tournament. I think they picked up the one victory, but when they came into IWCQ, they looked fantastic, and the growth that they had in that period was really impressive to watch. So as we continue through this, hopefully they can take another big step up, start trying to challenge the likes of the Turkish team, of the Brazilian team.
Well, we'll see what the Japanese team can do in this one. I think the players are ready, so let's get into that game.
Thanks a lot, guys. Welcome back to the caster desk, which is getting progressively shorter as the day goes on, now that I'm subbing in for Atlas. I'm, of course, Richard Pauls Cam. Alongside me, James O'Leary, my partner in crime from the EU Challenger Series.
Yeah, and it's a long way around the world here down to Australia, but having an absolute blast already with a lot of these games. And I think one of the real key fun little storylines coming into this is the one that Quickshot just touched on, which is the oldest and arguably most successful wildcard region. I mean, you even look at their results from Worlds for the CBLOL Brazilian region. Now we're going up against the absolute youngest region in the IWC, you know, the format of regions. And, you know, the Japanese scene is so young still, only a handful of really splits to their name, and some of the things that they're doing though is really cool. I love watching the Japanese teams play because they're always unpredictable, always exciting.
Always exciting. You even heard it on the analyst desk as well. They were talking about the Rift Herald, even going to Seros as well, seeing how we can use that in the mid lane. And on top of that, you look at the Japanese scene, how they've done over the last couple of tournaments in the international wildcard tournaments alone, and they have gotten progressively better. That was only over 2, however. So was that a blip in the radar, or are they getting better every time we see them? That's the question I need answered both today and the next 4 days.
I think you're going to get it, Pulse. I think you're going to get that kind of answer.
They are going to be facing a bunch of teams to kind of test their skills. Teams even against like the Brazilians who have gone up against the best in the world.
Yeah.
So this will be a very good benchmark to see where the Japanese are standing.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this mid lane matchup. Kami against Seros, because Seros, in the couple of games that we could find from the farewell party in Japan, he played Ezreal AD mid lane. Which I don't think is particularly great on this patch. He also played Ryze, which we've just seen is great. So we've kind of got this coin flippy, like, is he going to go for something kind of crazy? Is he going to go for something that is very standard and very good? Whereas Kami on the other side, I think you just look at and you say, okay, well, he can play most things. I'm really anticipating, hoping he picks Lux. Because he's an old Lux main. It was the old story about Kami, but I actually think Lux is pretty strong on this patch as well, so it does suit him down to a T, but he is a player that showed so much versatility at Worlds.
Yeah, we should be getting into that Champion Select soon, but, of course, Seros as well, if you don't know him as a player, big Zilean player, and you heard that right, in the mid lane, so we're going to see if that comes into play. The true wild card of this Champion Select is going to be that Zilean here, Stress. And the first ban has been Soraka.
Okay.
So the bananas are off the table. Misfortune has also been banned away by the Japanese. And Dr. Mundo will be the next ban from CBL.
I love that the Brazilian team is just like, I don't want to deal with any kind of just healing team.
Yeah,
Get that out of here. Nope. Don't want any of that, which has been very effective in solo queue, but there are ways to play around it in